Well, hi there pluckers, Ivor Sorefingers again with you with a bit of a slightly different video today. I thought I'd do an equipment update. I get regular questions about what bits and pieces I'm using when I'm playing, so I thought I'd give you an update on what I'm currently using. Okay, starting with the guitar, as usual I've had this one for quite some time now. It's a Taylor Big Baby. Okay, it's made in 2003, so it's quite an old one. I bought it second hand about 10 years ago, and absolutely brilliant. I love it. Okay, it's 3/4 size, standard size neck. Okay, the other question I get asked a lot about is these two screws. I don't know if you can see them. There are two what appears to be cross-headed screws on the 16th fret. This is a guitar with a bolt-on neck, as per like a normal electric guitar, like a Stratocaster or so, where they're bolted on. Well, this is exactly the same. So it's got two sort of bolts come screws which bolt it straight into the body. Okay, as you can see, there is no heel. No standard guitars have a heel here, come down here. That's missing obviously because I don't need it, because it's bolted into the body. Okay, so it's a solid spruce top, and it's just got laminated sides and back. Okay, it's the bottom end of their range, of Taylor's range, or one of the cheaper models that they made. I'm not sure if they still make this Big Baby. There's lots of new guitars they've started making, like the Academy series and such like. They still make the Small Baby, but I'm not sure about the Big Baby. Okay, I think the GS Minis have taken over some of the marketplace, but there are still some shops that have still got stock, I believe, and obviously second hand you can buy them, but it's they're quite sought after, so the price is still quite high compared with the new price that it was. Okay, anyway, I can't recommend this enough. I love this guitar. Okay, for the price, brilliant, plays well, sounds good. Right, so that's enough about the guitar. Right, so what else? Right, strings, very important. I get asked a lot of questions about my strings. Okay, I use, and I have done for quite a while now, Elixir Phosphor Bronze 11 to 52 custom light gauge nano web coated. So they last, because they've got the wound strings have got a very thin coating of this stuff called nano web, and it stops all the sweat and grime from your fingers going in between all the little windings, and therefore the strings stay brighter longer, and they do, you know. It obviously depends how much you play it, but they definitely last longer than uncoated strings, and I find the sound very, very good as well. The only thing you've got to watch with these Elixir now, because they're so popular, there are a lot of fakes around, even on Amazon. I bought some from Amazon about 3 or 4 months ago, and they turned out to be fake. Okay, eBay's full of them, full of fakes, so buy them from a reputable music shop, okay, or online reputable dealer. Okay, the things you've got to watch out for is the colour, and the packaging on some of these fakes is extremely good. Looks very, very like the original, but they come in individual packets, as you can see. Sometimes if you buy a fake, they're in a plastic bag. Okay, and sometimes the packets are slightly crumpled, don't look, you know, in pristine condition. But the main giveaway is the coated strings. Okay, the colour. These are like a sort of a coppery bronze colour. Don't know if you can see that, but they're not bright. Some of the fakes are like brass, very brassy coloured. But I did come across a fake set a few months ago from Amazon that was actually almost the right colour, but when I looked at it under an eyeglass, if you look around this area here, you can actually see where if it's coated, you can actually see the coating with an eyeglass, and you can see where it stops. It stops before it gets to this where it's actually secured and double wrapped. It actually stops just before that, and you can actually see where it stops, and the same the other end. If you look at it under an eyeglass, you can actually see where it stops. If they're fakes, you can look at the string and not see any coating at all. Okay, so you can actually see it, but obviously be aware that there are some fakes around. Okay, so if the price seems to be too good to be true, it probably is a fake. Okay, because they're not the cheapest strings in the world. Okay, so that's the strings taken care of. Okay, picks. Very personal. I would suggest, if you're not sure about what pick you need, go to a shop and buy a selection and try different thicknesses and different shapes. It's very personal. Okay, I use a Dunlop Tortex 0.73 yellow. Okay, but it's a very personal thing, so you need to, if you're looking for a pick, buy a few different ones and see which one you like the feel of. Gives you the sound you want. Okay, some people some of them have grips on so that they're more secure in your grip. I don't. I'm quite happy with a flat surface, but very personal thing. Okay, what else have I got? Fast fret. Okay, I tend to use that when I've finished playing. I give the strings a wipe with this little gadget. It's like a stick impregnated with some sort of cleaning oil, and you just wipe up and down the strings a couple of times, and then they give you a little duster just to wipe off the excess sort of thing. That tends to help keep the strings, in good nick, shall we say. Quite worth investing. Good for a Christmas present. Get somebody to buy it for you for Christmas. Lasts ages, absolutely years. Okay, Capo. Now, I use one of these. This is a G7th Capo. Most main dealers, big music shops, sell them these days. They're made in, well, they're designed in England. I think they're made in China, as usual. But they're designed in England by a company called G7th. And there's various different models. They are a one finger. You clamp it down and then you release it with this black lever at the bottom. You push it in and it opens up. So it's a one-handed job. They're quite thin compared with some capos, and there's no bulkiness. There's nothing sticking up in the air, not too much to hit your thumb against, So this one is the Performance 3 one, which has what they call ART, which is automatic radius technology, I believe they call this. So they've done something with the head that automatically adjusts to the curvature, the radius of your neck. So obviously different necks have a different curvature, and this adapts to it. Or it's an adaptive radius technology or something like that. Okay. I did have a Performance 2 before that, before this one, which doesn't have this automatic radius technology in it, and that was actually slightly thinner in the top bit, but I've gone over to using this one at the moment. It's very, very good. And if you want to buy them direct from a company called g7th.com, if you go online, you can see all the different capos they do for different instruments, ukuleles, banjos, and classical guitars, etc., etc. So there's different capos for different purposes. Okay, but this is a Performance 3, and if you buy it from the company direct, you can get as an optional extra, you can get a logo or your name engraved on the top edge. Yeah, so it can be a logo or a name or whatever you want. Okay, there. So that's the Capo, and my latest acquisition, shall I call it, is a new tuner. This is a what they call a Peterson strobe tuner, clip-on strobe tuner. You can get a foot pedal one as well. Okay, not the cheapest tuner in the world, but the technology is the same as what's used in what they use in studios. professional sort of tuning equipment in studios generally use these tuners which operate on a strobe effect. Okay, I'll try and show you what happens when I don't know if you can see that, but see the display. You can see there's a strobe. If it doesn't get that strobe there, and the idea is if it's flat or sharp, it goes one way or the other. So that's flat. If it goes sharp, it goes the other way. Okay, and the idea is to get it so it doesn't move, and it is very, very finite. It's very critical. It's very, very accurate. But the other advantage of this tuner is the fact you can use it for practically tuning anything. I mean, the guitars, it has presets in it for different instruments as well. Guitars, acoustic, electric, 12 strings, it's got a setup for 12 strings, dobros, banjos, mandolins, ukuleles, and then it also does any guitars that have got that buzz Phaeton tuning system in it. It can adapt itself for that as well. So it's got different settings, you go through a sequence of different presets, shall we call them. They call them sweeteners. But you can do a lute with it, you can do violins, violas, cellos, all sorts of different instruments, sitars. It does all sorts of things, and you can actually customise it. You can make your own tunings up on it, so you can make your own tunings and store them in the machine, little head, this tuner. And if you want, you can go online and update it. You can connect to the Peterson website, and if there's any updated downloads, you can download it so its firmware is updated. And also people put up their own tunings, and so you can download other people's tunings and try them out. You know, I believe there's one on here called acoustic. I think it just says acoustic guitar sweetener, as opposed to a standard tuning, which is set up for something. I think James Taylor has his own tuning, where some of the strings are actually slightly sharp or slightly flat from standard. He likes that certain tuning, and there's a tuning in this that corresponds to James Taylor, I believe. Okay, but not the cheapest tuner in the world, but extremely accurate and very precise. So that might be worth looking for a Christmas present if you wanted a Christmas present. Like I say, you can get it as a foot pedal as well, which is quite nice apparently. I've not actually tried it, but if you want a foot pedal version, there is one available. Okay. What else? That's it. That's about all the equipment I'm using at the moment. My camera. Oh yeah, what do I record on? I can't show it to you because I'm actually using it to record, obviously. But all it is basically is a Panasonic FZ200 bridge camera. Okay, nothing special. Okay, relatively run-of-the-mill bridge camera. Okay, and I just use it to record the video and the sound with its inbuilt microphone. I don't use external mics. I don't use any post production processing. I don't add anything. I don't take anything away. I generally do things in one take. I very rarely sort of cut and paste anything, or two bits together or anything like that. It's generally one take. And the only thing I do to it after I've taken the video, the file on the camera it does make quite a large file, you know, so it's a bit big to upload. So I use a program called Handbrake on my laptop to condense or you know, squash the file down to a more sensible size for uploading. But there's no actual processing effects added or anything like that. Okay, I know some people had all sorts of graphics and fancy banners and all this. Just not me, I'm afraid. This is I like to keep it nice and simple. So anyway, I hope that brings you up to date with what I'm using. Okay, I'm not getting paid by anybody that the equipment I've shown you. This is purely just for information purposes. I'm not trying to plug anything. It's just answering what people ask me quite a lot about what I actually use. So that's what I'm currently using. Okay, so thanks for watching, listening. Hope that's been of interest to some of you, and I'll see you in the next lesson. Bye for now.